During this video today, we're going to talk about some nootropics that are going to help you with ADHD and ADHD-like symptoms. Nootropics that are discussed in this video will help you if you're diagnosed or not diagnosed and you just want to improve your concentration and your ability to have a longer attention span. My experience with ADHD was that I was prescribed Ritalin, I was prescribed Concerta. They had horrible side effects. I'm talking they had a bad crash, they would suppress your appetite. Very often they would actually prevent you from sleeping. And so ultimately I said, enough is enough. I don't want to take these prescriptions anymore. I would much rather find a way to manage without them. And so of course I did start incorporating a more healthier lifestyle as far as getting better sleep, exercising, getting good nutrition, and these supplements were absolutely game changers. So I'm going to discuss them one by one and I'll give you my personal rating of them based on their effectiveness, their safetiness, and their cost. The very first nootropic that I'll discuss with you is called Noopept. I would rate Noopept 8 out of 10. What's great about it is that it's fairly affordable, it's relatively safe, it's not that strong to the point you have to be concerned about it being a stimulant, but what it can definitely do is help you have better concentration, help you focus. It can slightly improve your memory. It can be considered like a milder version of Ritalin because it's not physically stimulating, more so mentally stimulating. You'll find that like your word recall is very good, like your verbal fluency is good. You just really feel sharp on it. Some of the best months when it comes to making money were months when I was taking a lot of Noopept, because this kind of makes you so focused that you will neglect everything outside of your life, outside of work. So you're going to forget relationships, you're going to forget sports or your hobbies. You're just going to want to do those immediate priorities which are going to ring the cash register. If you were to take it fasted or you were to take it fed, it doesn't really make a big difference. You may be tempted to think that it's okay to take every single day, but what you'll find is you will build somewhat of a tolerance to it. So the way I recommend that you would take it is something like 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and then repeat. All right, now this is the second nootropic for ADHD. It's called L-Tyrosine. I would rate this 10 out of 10. It's very effective. One ingestion will last you the whole day, unlike Noopept where you have to take it several times per day, and it's also very affordable. L-Tyrosine will not only mentally stimulate you, but physically stimulate you as well. It's a great supplement to ingest like prior to a workout, prior to a weightlifting routine. Just be mindful it will elevate your heart rate to some extent, and here's what you can expect. By taking 100 to 200 milligrams of L-Tyrosine once in the day, preferably the morning, you will get a good like 10, even 12 hours of better focus, better energy levels. This is like the energy nootropic. It kind of feels like a sustained, extended release version of caffeine because again, you feel that focus throughout the whole day. I even find that with L-Tyrosine, it's strange. It like seems to work more in the later hours of the day when I'm more likely to feel fatigued. I will note that it can slightly increase irritability, but at the same time, it's worth it given that it not only will make you more energetic, but like you've got courage, you have anti-anxiety benefits. It's really strong stuff. Just with L-Tyrosine, this is not a nootropic you would take every single day. It's kind of similar to Adderall or Concerta, given that it's strong and it does build a tolerance a lot faster than Noopept and some other nootropics out there. So the way in which I would recommend you take L-Tyrosine, if you do choose to take it, is maybe 2, maybe 3 times per week max. Here's a neat hack that I like to do is I like to take the powder form and just put 100 milligrams right underneath my tongue, leave it there for 30 seconds or so rather than the capsule. It seems to work for me better that way, and I prefer taking L-Tyrosine on a fasted state versus when I'm fed, but it doesn't make a difference whether you take it with a meal, without a meal. The only real critique I have to L-Tyrosine is that unfortunately this stuff really will keep you up at night. I'm talking, I'll take L-Tyrosine, try to sleep 16 hours later, and I'll just be pretty much in bed with my eyes open. So that's not really happening like every time, but it's something you want to be mindful of, especially if you're somebody who is trying to improve their sleep quality. The next nootropic supplement for ADHD is Magnesium L-Threonate, also known as Magtine. Of all the magnesium supplements out there in the marketplace, this is one where you can actually cognitively feel something. So most people notice that when they take Magtine, they get an increase of focus. It actually does improve their sleep quality a little bit. And there's some good science showing that this is more likely to work if you're somebody who actually has ADHD, because magnesium levels in the brain are known to be lesser in individuals with ADHD. So if you have any suspicions that you may be low on magnesium, then this is probably the form you want to take, because what separates this particular form of magnesium versus the other forms like magnesium citrate or magnesium sulfate is this more efficiently crosses the blood-brain barrier. And when that happens, often you feel something working. There's as well some good research showing that this is a very powerful supplement for anti-aging. One study showed that by taking Magtine, after about 6 weeks, patients were able to feel 9 years younger in terms of their overall cognition through tests. It's really, quite honestly, pretty interesting the way it works, because it's like energizing, yet at the same time calming and relaxing. So with some individuals, when they take Magtine, they have an increased level of focus, but with some individuals, it actually doesn't help their focus, but it helps them fall asleep. So they start to use it as a sleep supplement. And for that reason, I would rate it 6 out of 10, because it hasn't been too effective for me, but I can see that for somebody who has ADHD, maybe has some uncertainty about their magnesium levels, then this being a really good fit for their daily regimen when it comes to supplements. One con with this, however, though, is that it's pretty expensive. It comes out to about $1.33 per day. This is the variation that I'm taking. It's from Nootropics Depot, and the way in which one would take it is by taking 1 capsule in the morning and then 2 capsules later at night, each capsule containing 667 milligrams. But what's fantastic, pretty much no side effects to really be aware of. It's hard to find any on the net. Some people notice that they have a little bit of insomnia, but again, it's very uncommon. The next nootropic is Oxiracetam. Each capsule is 1 gram, and this is kind of similar to Noopept in the way it works. You should feel slightly alert. It's not physically energizing, it's not too stimulating, but you're going to get a boost of concentration. You'll find that it's pretty easy to be productive. I find that upon ingestion of Oxiracetam, it's interesting, like my priorities are immediately top of mind, and you can tell it's doing something versus some of the other racetams, which will take a while to get saturated into your system and you notice something from them. It's something where you can use whether you're like an entrepreneur, maybe even you're a student. I think anyone can benefit from it because you get this increase in focus, and at the same time you feel really sharp on your feet. For anybody who's in sales and has to handle objections, or you need to be like super on point if you're doing a presentation, Oxiracetam is something I can definitely see working well for you. For some individuals, they need to take it for a week or 2 weeks to start noticing the effects, but some individuals like myself, we can take Oxiracetam and pretty much notice it right upon ingestion. With Oxiracetam, it's pretty affordable, so for that reason, I would rate it 8, maybe 8.5 out of 10. At the same time, though, I'm a little bit concerned about it since there's not a lot of research done on it or the benefits of Oxiracetam. We know that the racetams do apparently work with elder individuals, especially if they're somewhat cognitively impaired. But what about those younger individuals? Is Oxiracetam something safe to be taken long term? Who knows? And for that reason, I probably wouldn't give it a 9 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. But if it's such that you have tried Noopept and Noopept has led you to have brain fog, which is pretty common, then you may want to consider taking Oxiracetam. However, note this is a supplement which will work much better when you take it with a choline source like alpha-GPC. Alpha-GPC, which I've talked about in this video over here, it's kind of like energy for the brain. It's found in egg yolks, and combining choline like alpha-GPC with Oxiracetam makes you pretty sharp for a good 3 or 4 hours. Here's the next nootropic supplement for ADHD. It's called agmatine sulfate. This is by Evolution Nutrition. Have you ever taken a pre-workout supplement and noticed that your whole day pretty much went better as far as your concentration and your productivity? Because that phenomena could very well be because of the agmatine sulfate contained in the pre-workout. Not the caffeine, but this is one ingredient where you'll find that your concentration is definitely better. You only need to take it once per day in most cases. Some people like taking it twice per day, but what the serving size for this looks like anyway is 750 milligrams. I take it once in the morning, like roughly 1 hour after waking up. I'll take my agmatine sulfate along with my caffeine. I'll get a good workout in. Research suggests that agmatine plays a pretty important role in cognitive function. It helps with stress resilience, helps with pain, helps with inflammation, and then like I mentioned with working out, you can expect to have like fuller muscles, bigger muscles as it boosts nitric oxide levels. Here's what the powder looks like. It looks like a branched chain amino acid or many amino acids out there, and the way in which I'm taking it is 750 milligrams sometime within the first couple of hours of waking up. Again, it's especially good if you take it pre-workout. That's what the suggested use is for this anyway. It says to take 15 to 30 minutes before training, but again, even if you're not somebody who trains or does cardio, this is going to be a very effective nootropic supplement with ADHD and ADHD symptoms. I'd rate agmatine sulfate a solid 7 out of 10 as far as it being a nootropic for ADHD. It would be higher, but it's not that effective. What's great about it is that it does work, it's relatively safe. However, you're most likely going to have to combine this with other nootropics, and then it can get pretty pricey. It's not the least expensive nootropic out there, but given that it's an amino acid, the stuff is relatively safe. It's like, why not? It is a great nootropic to consider. Here's our next nootropic supplement. It's called L-Tyrosine. This is an amino acid that's found in chicken breast. It's also found in egg whites, and what it's responsible for is really boosting concentration levels. I think this is the most effective amino acid one can take free form, but again, that's free form, so don't combine this with a meal. Consider taking it just by itself, and you will certainly notice it working at a time when you are stressed out. I mean, if you're in a good state, if you're fed, you probably won't notice it working, so don't waste it on those occasions. More so a time when, let's say, you're a little bit hungry, maybe you're tired or you're dehydrated, or even if you're like halfway through a workout. That's one of my personal favorite ways in which I would take L-Tyrosine, is like halfway through my workout, if I'm a little bit tired, I would just take 500 milligrams, and you can notice it working as far as boosting your focus, boosting your energy levels. This kind of serves like something you would take as a replacement for caffeine, which is good, especially in the later portion of the day when you're a little bit tired, but you know you have work to do. You don't want to take coffee because it's going to keep you up at night. Take some L-Tyrosine, you should get a good boost of focus for about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, and a nice use of taking L-Tyrosine as well as when you're experiencing like a stimulant crash. So for most people, what that looks like is they'll ingest coffee or caffeine, and somewhere about 3 hours later, they experience that brain fog, a really low level of energy. You may want to consider taking 500 milligrams to 750 milligrams of L-Tyrosine on those instances, and you'll notice like a boost of concentration. If you don't notice it working, then you may want to, again, consider taking it fasted. Wait at least 2 hours from your previous meal before ingesting L-Tyrosine to see the benefits. That's how it works for most people. And something really neat happens when you combine it with caffeine. I find that when I combine 1 gram of L-Tyrosine with about 200 milligrams of caffeine, I get like 2 to 3 hours of really good focus. I'm in a much better mood. It's very powerful, especially pre-workout. And L-Tyrosine has a nice, neat effect that way. It can suppress your appetite, and it will actually cause fat loss. There's studies which suggest taking L-Tyrosine prior to some sort of physical activity will further enhance fat loss. I would rate L-Tyrosine 9 out of 10, although I will admit that I respond very well to L-Tyrosine, whereas some people don't. Some people feel a little bit anxious when they take it, and as well, some people do surprisingly build a tolerance to it. They will notice that when they take L-Tyrosine for a few weeks, they need to take more to get the same effect. But from my experience, I mean, it's been 5 or 6 years when I've taken L-Tyrosine almost every single day throughout the year, maybe like 95% of the days, and it still works just as well. The next nootropic supplement for ADHD is called Sabroxy. This is a relatively new nootropic supplement to the marketplace. I'll admit I've only taken it for a couple of weeks, but honestly, I'm incredibly impressed. This stuff definitely works. It's really good for concentration, boosting your focus. You'll find that when you take 1 or 2 capsules in the morning, your days just go a lot better. You're kind of feeling like the same as you normally would. You don't feel any different as far as anxiety or jitters. Didn't expect much from this nootropic supplement, so it's safe to say that it has certainly exceeded my expectations, and a really neat way in which I can see it being used is to overcome stimulant withdrawals. Maybe you're somebody who's trying to overcome Adderall withdrawals because you were on Adderall for quite a long time, you've come off of it and you're feeling like brain fog, you're feeling like you're in a bad mood. This, you're able to kind of just feel sharper, you don't feel slow anymore. It'll definitely get you up as far as like boosting your energy levels. I found that since I've started taking Sabroxy, I don't really desire to take as much caffeine anymore, where usually I'm taking like 300 to 400 milligrams of caffeine. This will make it such that you may not need that evening or afternoon serving of caffeine. As far as the dose is concerned, the amount per serving is 100 milligrams. The bottle says take 1 capsule daily, but I'll admit I didn't really feel much when I took 1. I tried taking 2 or 3, and then I could definitely feel it was working. But if you're taking other stimulants, then I would definitely keep it on the lower side. Of course, as always, keep yourself safe. Don't take any nootropic supplement without consulting with your doctor first. And I really hope you all enjoyed this video. That's all I got for you. Subscribe if you'd like to see more content, and I will look forward to seeing you all next time. Take care, guys.